Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world, but also to welcome to the program four most exceptionally talented personalities. And once again, I'm going to ask them to speak on the subject that I give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And they are seated on my right, Paul Merton and Julian Clary, and seated on my left, David Tennant and Stephen Fry. Please welcome all four of them. For those regular listeners, you'll have heard that we have three veteran players of the game and one newcomer who's never played it before, the virgin player, David Tennant. We welcome him with a special welcome. Yes.
Please be gentle with me.
And beside me sits Hayley Sterling, who's going to help me with the score, and she will blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And we're going to begin the show this week with Paul Merton. Paul, a lovely subject, a banana skin. Tell us something about a banana skin in this game, starting now.
Well, in the world of slapstick, banana skin has always been the fruit of the day.
I think he slipped on some sort of banana skin.
Yes,
I stopped.
You stopped. Well, Stephen, that was a correct challenge of hesitation. So you get a point for that, of course. You take over the subject, and there are 54 seconds available. A banana skin, starting now.
Well, the savoury vegetable, the plantain, is the banana's kin, but I suppose the question really related to the skin of a banana on which comic people sometimes slip. They say, don't they, that the more solemn you are, the more amusing the joke.
Julian challenge.
Repetition of more.
Oh, yes.
Clever.
Clever, yes. We often avoid thee and Anne, but not that one. So, Julian, you have a correct challenge and a point for that, of course. And there are 38 seconds available. A banana skin, starting now.
There's nothing worse, is there, than slipping up on a banana skin?
Stephen, challenge.
I think nuclear war is worse than slipping on a banana skin. He said there was nothing worse.
I mean, to him, there may be nothing worse.
Really?
To you, there may be worse things. I can think of many things.
I feel a fool now. I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. But that was an incorrect challenge, so Julian has another point. And there are 34 seconds. A banana skin, Julian, starting now.
I was walking down Old Compton Street recently, and before I knew it, I was flat on my back with my legs in the air, and it was a banana skin that was to blame. I understand it has some sort of metaphorical meaning, as in there may be a political banana skin, examples of which you can make up for yourselves. But I prefer to focus on the fruit itself. I once nibbled on the actual skin of a banana, and I can't say I enjoyed it. It stuck to the roof of my mouth, and
You were going so well, and there's only 5 seconds to go. And Paul, you challenged first.
It was a hesitation.
It was a hesitation, and so you've got it back, and you have 5 seconds, starting now.
Smoking banana skins in San Francisco in the 1960s with Nicholas Star Child Parsons.
Stephen Fry, will you take the next round, or begin the next round? I mean, if the subject is the great American novel, we can be quite erudite on this show. Will you talk on the subject? Yes, please write it down if you want to.
Definitely.
60 seconds, as usual, starting now.
Well, the great American novel is really a paradigm, a platonic form. Many believe it doesn't exist. It's something to which you should strive, though there are candidates for the great American novel. Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, for example, is an early one. Then there's Moby Dick by Herman Melville, and, of course, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. You shouldn't forget For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway, nor indeed...
Julian challenge.
not one of my favourites.
You haven't got a challenge within the rules of Just a Minute, do you?
No, of course not, no.
Yeah, right. Well, what I'm going to do in this show, if we enjoy an interruption and gets a very good laugh, we give them a bonus point. And I think that deserved a bonus point, Julian. But you get a point for being interrupted, Stephen.
Oh,
and you
exciting.
have 33 seconds still available. The great American novel starting now.
Oh, my lordy. Some would say USA by John Dos Passos is also a great American novel. Others would put forward the claims of, for example, Catch-22, and perhaps also Lemony Snicket's work. I wouldn't myself, though Neil Stephenson's Cryptonomicon, others would also advance.
Julian challenge.
Repetition of others.
Yes, you did say
Yeah,
others before.
you're probably
Yes,
right.
I think you said it more than once, actually. So, Julian, you had a correct challenge again, and there are 13 seconds available, and the subject is the great American novel, starting now.
The great American novel has to be not only a novel, not only great.
In like a flash. Right. Stephen, your
Yes,
challenge.
repetition of not, and indeed repetition of only.
Yes, okay, right, everything. 9 seconds for you still available, Stephen. The great American novel, starting now.
Perhaps the great American novel is being written now.
Julian challenge.
Repetition of perhaps.
Yes, you did say perhaps before.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Does it-
Julian, there are 5 seconds. And you have the great American novel, starting now.
Let's focus on Moby Dick thrashing around in the ocean. What a marvellous story of that great...
Right, so at the end of that round, let me give the scores. I haven't been doing that. Julian's taken the lead. He's 3 points ahead of Stephen Fry and also with Paul Merton. David's yet to score, but David, you're going to begin the next round. And the subject is a lovely one. Exit pursued by a bear. I don't know if you know where that comes, but it doesn't matter. Try and talk on the subject, starting now.
Antigonus, in the third act of Shakespeare's late romance, The Winter's Tale, I believe it might be scene 3, brings the baby Perdita to a blasted hillside and leaves her, says something about going and never returning, and then exits pursued by a bear, possibly the most famous direction in theatrical history. I should say infamous because, of course, William of Stratford left actors and directors for centuries to come struggling with the dilemma of how you stage this. Do you just put the youngest member of the company in a big hairy suit and have him waggle his rubber claws at someone? Or does that puncture the drama of the moment somewhat? Do you have to do it more expressionistically, perhaps a sound effect or something with a stage technology being used to create the image for the audience in the mind? You would imagine that bill of...
Well, David, I
Can I leave now before I ruin my record?
A newcomer coming on and playing this very difficult game. We make it sound easy for the listeners and everybody, but it is very difficult. And you've gone on your first attempt for 60 seconds without being interrupted or saying repetition, hesitation, or deviation. Well done. And you get a point for not being interrupted and a bonus point for going for the full length of time.
Get in!
I think you can relax now, David. Right.
It can only be downhill.
All right. Julian, it's your turn to begin. And the subject now is the banyan tree. We've got some quite erudite subjects, haven't we, this week? And your 60 seconds is available, starting now.
What a lovely tree it is. There's great big roots trailing around like hair, reaching towards the ground. People believe in certain exotic countries that spirits live inside the banyan tree. And as you pass said tree, you're not allowed to say anything rude or raise your voice. You have to be polite. Otherwise, you might disturb the inhabitants and they'll come and get you and make your life a misery. The banyan tree is also the name of an Indian restaurant somewhere in the Midlands, about which I know very little, but I did pass through recently and I tried their ladies' fingers. They also have the gentleman's variety, if you know what I'm saying. You have to ask the correct waiter. But I enjoyed it. My cheeks were bulging by the time I left that particular establishment. But let's return to the banyan tree. There is one in the centre of most villages in India, and people gather round of an evening and chat about the day's events.
Well, that has never happened before, as far as I know. Successive rounds of someone going for the full 60 seconds without being interrupted.
What's going on?
Yes.
And what's going on? Talent is shining through and coming to the surface, which it often does in this show. And Julian, you kept going to the whistle when, get a point for that, of course, and another point for not being interrupted. So what's the situation at the end of that round? And I will tell you. Oh, Julian's increased his lead over Stephen Fry, David Tennant, and Paul Merton in that order. We're back with you to begin, actually, Paul. Oh, the subject now, hallelujah. Tell us something about hallelujah.
I think we'll be getting 3 1 minutes in a row here.
Hallelujah, starting now.
Hallelujah is a general exclamation of something wonderful happening. Hallelujah, I scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final. Hallelujah, I've won Britain's Got Talent. Me and my performing tortoise, Roger the Extraordinary. Hallelujah is a word which you often see at the beginning of... There was a film once called Hallelujah, I'm a Bum, starring Al Jolson in the 1930s. It was set in the Great Depression. The words and music...
Stephen Challenge.
That's actually the third time he's used the word, but I thought I'd let the
sure,
first
fair
one
enough.
go. But
Yeah,
3
absolutely.
is too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen, I said too much. It sounded a bit pompous there.
I'm sorry. Quite right. I'm so sorry.
Not at all. I had to
Been
remark
bitch
on
slapped by Nicholas.
I had to remark on it because I thought he might get a laugh. And it was correct. So correct challenge, Stephen. There are 36 seconds available. Hallelujah, with you starting now.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. The Hallelujah Chorus is an amazing piece of music scored by Handel, of course, Georg Friedrich of that name, in the 1740s for an oratorio that he wrote, which was first performed in Dublin. They say King George II on the performance in London rose to his feet during the Hallelujah Chorus because... Oh, yes.
David Challenge.
Repetition of chorus.
Yes, indeed.
Now, can I just check the rules? Am I now allowed to say the word chorus, or is the word chorus now verboten for the whole round?
No.
You haven't spoken, so you can say anything at the moment.
I
You
can
haven't
say
spoken,
anything,
you can
okay.
say whatever you like. You can repeat word for word what he's just said if you want. Yes, Paul.
Repetition of chorus.
Hasn't started yet.
Have we started, okay.
No.
Just for the benefit of new listeners, it's good to revise the rules now and again, isn't
Yeah.
it? And new players, frankly.
No, we're not revising them. That is the rule.
I've just been going over them.
going over
Reviewing,
them.
sorry.
Reprising them, right.
I'm getting picked up between rounds now.
60, yeah. I'm being pompous now, I'm sorry. 16 seconds available, David. Hallelujah, starting now.
When I was 12 in Ralston Primary School, a very ambitious music teacher decided to teach a bunch of us the Hallelujah Chorus in 5-part harmony. I'm sure it was something of a caterwaul, but it was very extraordinary that he tried.
So, David Tennant was in speaking as a whistle when gained that extra point. And he's equal now with Stephen Fry in second place, just ahead of Paul Merton and just behind Julian Clary, who is still our leader. And Stephen, it's your turn to begin. Well, this is a challenge. I'm sure you're up to it. Iambic Pentameter.
Oh, Lord.
You can feel the frisson in the audience as it goes round. Wonder what will he do with it? I'm sure he'll tell us. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
I rang someone on the telephone many years ago and heard a message that said, "I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but leave us something on the phone after." And
David Challenge.
I think that was a bit of a hesitation, Stephen.
But it was just a ramble rather than a hesitation.
Right, okay.
But it could be interpreted as a hesitation.
I don't want to
By
get
a bad
cocky.
judge.
I'm new.
Now, what I sometimes do, David, when it's difficult to judge, I say, I give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And give it to you. But if I can redress the balance later, Stephen,
Well, thank
I will
you.
give it to you. Right.
I'm sorry. I hope you're not offended.
It's this how to get.
I'm not sure that you
playing
want
well,
the subject,
how it
actually.
should be played.
Wow.
Iambic Pentameter. And there are 47 seconds starting now.
Richard II is the only play by Shakespeare written entirely in iambic pentameter. No gobbets of prose to be seen anywhere. Now, why should that be? Is it because iambic pentameter is the language of royalty? Certainly there are gardeners in that play who also speak in
Stephen, challenge.
He said the only play, and Gardner's in that play.
Yes, there are two plays there. Yes, well, listen.
Touché.
So, Stephen, you've got it back without a benefit of the doubt. 27 seconds available. Iambic pentameter starting now.
Iambic pentameter is composed of 5 disyllabic feet. Iambs, they're also known as, which are scudding.
Paul, challenge.
A repetition of known, also known as. Did we have that twice? Or was I dreaming it?
so.
No, it obviously wasn't, no. Sorry about that. And to be honest, I've just had a look at the subject again, so I'm very happy not to have it. So.
Well, I give the benefit of the doubt to Stephen. I said I would return it if it's possible, and you still have the subject. 16 seconds, iambic pentameter starting now.
Sometimes it's easier to demonstrate than to relate, so I shall show. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds
Julian, challenge.
2 Moors.
Two Moors.
Oh, yes, sorry.
You chose.
You rely on Shakespeare not to be so bad at this game.
Yes. That's 3 seconds you've got in with Julian to go. And you tell us something about iambic pentameter starting now.
There was a young lady from Ealing who had a peculiar...
Julian Clary was then speaking as a whistle went, gained an extra point, has increased his lead at the end of that round, ahead of Stephen Fry and David Tennant and Paul Merton in that order. David, it's your turn to begin. We're back with you. The subject is, it's in the stars. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
One of the tropes of modern life that infuriates me more than many others is the faux science of astrology. It's in the stars, some caftan-wearing lunatic will proclaim in newspaper columns or premium rate phone lines. It's in the stars. No, it's not. It's in your head. I'm a Capricorn. I must like cheese. Sagittarius, hats are my thing. The notion that the hour of your birth should predetermine who you are and what you may be prone to like is so fallacious as to make my skin crawl. And
Well, Paul Tennant, I must say, David, your natural delivery is so deliberate that you are ideal to play this game. And because it's so consistent. Paul, challenge, yes.
Yes, hesitation.
It was hesitation, yes.
All right.
And you've got him with 19 seconds to go on. It's in the stars, starting now.
There's a Cole Porter song that has a couplet something like, it's in the stars, next July we collide with Mars, from the show High Society, I believe. Now, in the stars, if we look at the people who have lived in the past, for example, Henry VIII, Mozart, Charlie Chaplin, Nicholas Parsons, there's something that we can pick out which is a current thing. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Didn't show though, did it?
Right, they wait for that send-up of Nicholas Parsons from Paul in every show, right. And it came there very cleverly. Paul, you got another point for speaking as the whistle went, and you've moved forward. You're still in 4th place, but you move forward, right. But only 1 or 2 points separates all of them. And Julian, it's your turn to begin. Oh, this is a lovely one. The dressing up box. Tell us something about the dressing up box. 60 seconds starting now.
It's funny the things you do at a formative age and how that may shape your future. Because when I was a child, there was a girl upstairs, I think her name was Julie, and she had a dressing up box, and I was invited up there, and I would dive in, and she had all sorts of pearls and silks and satins and netting, and the pair of us would cavort around the balcony and occasionally on the lawns if it was summer. And that's...
Paul, you challenged.
Hesitation, sadly.
Hesitation, yes, correct. 33 seconds are still available, Paul. The dressing up box starting now.
As I pulled on the stovepipe hat and the false whiskers, I'd realised I'd be stalking the streets as Gladstone again. It could have been 1888 as the fog...
Oh, Stephen challenged.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I thought there were too many 8s, but there weren't.
There weren't. No, it's perfect.
It was a trap for me, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a trap, yeah. He's played the game an awful lot.
Yes.
And incorrect challenge, Paul, another point to you. 28 seconds available. The dressing up box starting now.
My alter ego is Lulu McIntyre. I often walk around the... Oh, I said streets before.
Julian, you challenge first.
Well, I don't know if it was repetition or sort of hesitation, combination of the two. I'll go for repetition.
Of what?
Yeah.
Often.
he actually hesitated.
I said hesitation as well.
Did you? Anyway, the benefit of the doubt, even if it's not correct, 23 seconds for you on the dressing up box, starting now.
My favourite garment was her mother's wedding dress, and indeed went through a bit of a ceremony with Glenn up the road. Conquests were involved. Don't know why you're looking at me like that. And it was very moving, and so the dressing up box, as I matured, decided to make my future in show business, I naturally thought, well, it's lycra is the way to go, and I have...
So, Julian Clary was then speaking again with the whistle went, has increased his lead ahead of the other three, and the other three are all equal in second place, quite a few points behind, actually. Ooh. And, Stephen, it's your turn to begin. Oh, the sitar. Can you tell us something about the sitar in this game starting now?
Well, the sitar is a stringed instrument up to 18, 19 or 20 strings, I believe, strung...
Julian challenge.
It's 18. Just so you know.
You can have 20-string sitars.
You can shut up.
What was your challenge, Julian?
No, I wasn't. I was just...
Oh, yeah, right. Well, do I give you a bonus point? Was it good enough for that? I don't know.
Yeah,
right, the audience have decided.
Yeah.
They are the final.
He's not far enough ahead.
And... Stephen, you still have the subject.
Oh, Lord.
And having got a point, of course, it's the sitar starting now.
Good, I believe, is the fruit that forms the back of original sitars. In the modern age, Ravi Shankar was a man who really caused a great influential stream of people to play the instrument, including George Harrison, of course, on Within You and Without Thee. And there was Painted Black, which the Rolling Stones did, had a sitar. Norwegian Wood, the Beatles, I think that also...
Julian challenge.
You've had wood twice.
Yes.
My usual problem...
To be honest, it's a very exciting recording.
I got wood twice, exactly. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That was a correct challenge. Another point to you, Julian. And 31 seconds available. The sitar starting now.
When I was mastering the 18-stringed sitar, the question was, shall I pluck or shall I strum? And my instructor said that with my fingers, the former was the way forward. So, there we have it.
Paul, your challenge.
Well, sort of in conclusion, really, wasn't it? Got a bit of a hesitation.
I think we'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say yes. And so, another point to you, Paul. And there are... 17 seconds. Can you tell us something about the sitar starting now?
Famously, when Ravi Shankar was supporting George Harrison in a tour of America in the 1970s, while he was tuning up, the audience applauded because they didn't realise that actually he hadn't started playing any music. But that was because they weren't familiar at that point with the Indian cadences and indeed the chromatic scale, which is a completely different thing than what we have over here.
So let me give you the score at the end of that round, and I have to tell you, we're moving into the final round. I'm glad you feel like that. I think we're winning. Oh, it's very interesting. Julian Clary, who took the lead early on, has sustained that. He's still in the lead. He's 4 or 5 points ahead of Paul Merton, and almost the same. Stephen's almost equal with them. And only 3 or 4 points behind that is David Tennant, who, of course, hasn't played the game before. And it's also his turn to begin. Oh, we've had quite a bit of Shakespeare in this show, and we've got some more now. David, the subject now is Falstaff. 60 seconds available, starting now.
Sir John Falstaff, the Jolly Fat Knight, appears in 3 of Shakespeare's plays, King Henry IV, parts 1 and indeed 2, and then latterly in The Merry Wives of Windsor, apparently written because Queen Elizabeth was so taken with the character when she saw him in his first plays that she wanted to see him in love. So Falstaff was pitted against Mistress Page and the other one. It's quite hard to...
Stephen challenge.
Ford is the other one.
Thank you. The facts desert you in the white heat of all this.
So, Stephen, we give you a bonus point for a good reaction there, a good laugh. But you were interrupted, David.
I was.
So you get a point for that.
Thank you. I need all the ones I can take.
Yes, right. Well, you've got 26 seconds to go on Falstaff, starting now.
Ralph Richardson was, of course, a very famous Falstaff. Simon Russell Beale more recently won a BAFTA for his portrayal, and Sir Anthony Sher is currently
Stephen Challenge.
His repertoire is Sir John Falstaff and Sir Anthony.
I'm not talking about Tony Sher without giving him his just desserts. Take it up with the Royal Shakespeare Company and Her Majesty. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Fry.
Stephen, if I was to give you the point on the subject, it wouldn't make any difference to the final score. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to David, because he's been going so fantastically, and he's new.
I may have nothing left to say, to be honest with you.
Well, keep going, and they'll finish up equal with the others. And 16 seconds available, Falstaff starting now.
16 seconds suddenly stretches ahead like a very long and difficult road to traverse, but I will attempt because...
Paul Challenge.
It's not 16 seconds anymore. The road's got much shorter.
Thank you.
9 seconds still available. To you, another point, of course. Falstaff starting now.
In fact, Falstaff was originally called Old Castle, but that was based on an actual human being, and his family objected that the Bard of Avon was making light of his...
So the final score. Oh, it's so fair and so equal, because we have 3 in second place. Paul Merton, Stephen Fry, and David Tennant. So a big round of applause for those 3, but 4 points ahead in the lead was Julian Clary. Started with the lead, kept the lead, and so we say, Julian, you are our winner this week. So we have no more time to play this lovely game. It only remains to say thank you to these 4 delightful and talented players of the game: Paul Merton, Julian Clary, David Tennant, and Stephen Fry. I thank Hayley Sterling for the way she's helped me with the score. And we are, of course, indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're indebted to our producer, to Lucy Gilani. So from them, from me, Nicholas Parsons, and this lovely audience here, thank you. Tune in again the same time when we play Just a Minute. Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello. My name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world, but also to welcome to the program 4 dynamic, exciting performers who are going to play this interesting and difficult game. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Alun Cochrane, and seated on my left, Josie Lawrence and Tony Hawkes. Please welcome all 4 of them. And as usual, I am going to ask them to speak on a subject that I will give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. Beside me sits Hayley Sterling, who's going to help me with the score, and she will blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And this particular show is coming from the Marlowe Theatre in the centre of that wonderful cathedral city of Canterbury. And we're going to begin the show with Paul Merton, and the first subject is, very aptly, a cathedral city. So, Paul, will you talk on that subject? 60 seconds if you can, starting now.
As you walk around the tight cobbled streets and you feel the tradition, the history, the magnificent cathedral overshadowing the city beneath, I love Salisbury. There's something about it that makes your heart blood pound round. And when you come to Canterbury, the same thing. It's magnificent. I've said magnificent 3 times.
They didn't mind how many times you said their place was magnificent. Tony, your challenge came in first. And
Yes, repetition of magnificence.
Yes, indeed. And so 41 seconds available still. And it's, Tony, correct challenge. A cathedral city starting now.
I'm not interested in a B cathedral city like Chester or a C cathedral city like Norwich. I'm interested...
Josie challenge.
I'm going to be a bit naughty now and say there was 2 likes very close to each other.
Right, yes, right. So Josie, correct challenge and a point to Josie. So, Josie, you have a cathedral city, and you have 32 seconds, starting now.
A cathedral city is a city with a cathedral in it, and not to be really confused with the cheese cathedral city. You couldn't live in that. It comes from cows, and it would make you smell. A cathedral city, why, there are lots of them. Look at Liverpool, but my favourite is Canterbury, although I do have a nice little penchant for Exeter Cathedral. And then, of course, my hometown of Birmingham has the most glorious cathedral.
Right, Tony, would you take the next round? Oh, another rather topical subject, Christopher Marlowe. Quite a cultural show this week. Will you talk about Christopher Marlowe if you can, for 60 seconds if you want to, starting now.
There are 2 Christopher Marlowes that I know about. One is the 16th century dramatist, after which this magnificent theatre is named, and the other was at my junior school and was a very good footballer. We played in the 7-a-side team at Goldstone, and we did terribly well one year, and I'd rather talk about him. Although that would be sacrilege, would it not? Given that we are here in a cathedral city that I would have liked to have spoken about previously, but didn't get the opportunity. Now, what is most...
Paul, you challenge first.
That was a sort of hesitation, really.
It was a definite hesitation. Yes. Right, so Paul, there's still 26 seconds available. Christopher Marlowe starting now.
As I entered the tavern, I looked around. The lights were low, the sound of mumblings behind the bar carried across the wooden floor. There was the man I was looking for. He was cloaked in the darkness, but nevertheless I could make out the famous profile of Marlowe. I needed to sneeze. Oh, no.
Josie, you challenged first. Another point to you.
Hesitation.
Yeah, hesitation. Yeah, so you got him with 9.
It was a good story, though.
Yeah, it is. It's a true story. 9 seconds, Josie, on Christopher Marlowe, if you want it, starting now.
Christopher Marlowe was a wonderful poet and playwright. And, you know, William Shakespeare was heavily influenced by him. I was lucky enough to be in
In this game, whoever is speaking with the whistle goes game, there's extra points, and it was Josie Lawrence, and the situation is now that Josie's in a strong lead. Paul and Tony have scored. Alan's yet to register. I mean, he's registered, but hasn't scored. Alan, we'd like you to begin the next round.
Oh, okay.
This may be up your street, I don't know. Skinny Latte. No, Latte is pronounced, isn't it? So, Alan, will you speak on the subject of Skinny Latte? 60 seconds if you want it, starting now.
When my life flashes before my eyes, the 2 words I don't think I'll hear myself say very often are Skinny Latte. Even now, as I attempt it, I have to put the long A vowel sound in, which isn't really me. I'm much more likely to say Skinny Latte, as was said just a moment before. I don't really understand why people order Skinny Latte, and it has come to my observation that many of those people are not.
Josie challenged.
A repetition of people, I'm afraid.
There are too many people there, Alan. You brought your own audience with you, haven't you, Josie? Right. So Josie's got in with 33 seconds to go. She's gained another point. Skinny Latte is the subject, starting now.
Latte, it's a wonderful drink if you think about it, made with milk. Full...
Alan, you challenged.
I thought that was a hesitation.
It was.
It was a hesitation. So you've got
It's just I get so angry about this skinny stuff. God's sake, eat something.
Right. Alun, you've got Skinny Latte back with you as a subject, having gained a point for that. 28 seconds available, starting now.
If I may give the audience of Canterbury some tips on frugality, you can recreate a skinny latte in the comfort of your own home by just taking some suds of a bath or a washing machine and just adding a little instant coffee, and you will have the benefits of the frothiness of a skinny latte with all the taste of a skinny latte. For indeed, it contains no caffeine and no joy. Get yourself a nice, strong coffee. Not that I'm a coffee snob.
Right, so you get an extra point for speaking as the whistle went, Alun, and you're now strongly in second place. Right, what's the next subject? It is honey. Oh, a lovely subject. Adore honey.
Me too.
And it's a lovely name as well. So, honey, Josie, would you take the subject? Honey, starting now.
Oh, I love that gorgeous golden liquid. Do you know it's actually regurgitated from a buzzing insect, but you couldn't really call it bee vomit. It wouldn't sell as well. Yes, honey is a wonderful name. Also used as a term of affection. Hello, I love you, honey. I'm not talking about somebody who's just met somebody. I'm talking about somebody. I was deviating then, wasn't I?
Yeah, I thought you were talking about me, actually.
Yeah, I was, honey.
Tony, you challenge first.
Yes, repetition of somebody.
Somebody, yes. 37 seconds available. Honey, starting now.
I went through a long and exciting period of my life where I met a lot of golden retrievers and Labradors, and nearly all of them were called Honey. It was extraordinary. And can I tell you some exciting anecdotes?
I very much doubt it. Ironically, we had repetition of the word excited. Exciting anecdotes.
Yes, you did have excited
Yes.
anecdotes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So you've got a correct challenge and a huge laugh. So you've got another 2 points there, and you've got the subject, honey, and there are 21 seconds available. Paul, starting now.
As I slowly brushed the honey off my epaulets, I realised I'd made a terrible mistake by taking that giant bee on. He was an absolute bastard, and we wrestled backwards and forwards across Romney Marsh, up the Eiffel Tower, across the magnificent plains of
Josie
Cairo.
challenge.
Repetition of a cross, I'm
You went
afraid.
across too much, across the thing and across the Eiffel Tower. So you've cleverly got him with 4 seconds to
4
go.
seconds.
Yeah. Another point, and honey is with you. 4 seconds starting now.
Honey and lemon is a wonderful drink if you have a bad cold.
So let's see what the situation is at the end of that round. Well, Josie's in the lead still, right? She's got another point for speaking as the whistle went. And then the other three are all equal together in second place. And we begin the next round with Paul again. Oh, Paul, I don't know whether you're any good at that, but talk on the subject, multitasking. Why laugh? I'm sure he's a great multitasker. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
As I sit here drawing petrol out of this lawnmower while simultaneously translating Edward Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire into the original Spanish, I'm also... I'm making it too hard for myself.
I think you're trying to be too clever there,
I'm trying
Tony.
to be too clever,
Yes,
and I can't do it.
The original Spanish?
Yes.
It wasn't Spanish.
No.
Tony, you challenged.
Yes, he hesitated.
He did
I
indeed.
certainly
He came to a
hesitated.
full stop. 49 seconds are available, Tony, on multitasking, starting now.
I am actually working a potter's wheel under this table. And this is very impressive, but I am brilliant at multitasking, although some people say that men don't do it terribly well. They claim that women are superior in this area. Well, let me assure you right now that I would...
Paul challenged.
Why does he want to insure us? Is this going to be a really dangerous speech?
This is a very dangerous potter's wheel.
Oh, Lord, it is. It's enormous.
So your challenge, Paul?
I've forgotten. No, deviation. He didn't mean to say insure. He meant to
No,
say
you say
insure.
ashore, yes.
Oh, ashore even, yes.
You want to say ashore, yeah.
Yes.
So another point to you, Paul. 28 seconds are still available. Multitasking is back with you, starting now.
Whenever I get a subject, it always seems to be 28 seconds to go. And I'm very pleased because multitasking is the subject I want to talk to you about. Oh, no.
Tony, you challenge what?
Repetition of subject.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're back with you, Tony. We're having gained another point. 21 seconds. Multitasking starting now.
Once I was in a field, and it was an exciting anecdote that came out.
Josie challenge,
He
why?
said anecdotes twice. He said it before.
Yes, you did.
The previous round.
Previous round?
Oh, right, the previous round, yes.
Yeah.
La la la.
You saved me. I was going nowhere there.
He was, yeah.
Seems never mind multitasking, you can't manage the one.
Mind you, that pot's coming on well.
My feet are going crazy under here.
The brain's not so hot at the moment, is it? Anyway, that's another point to you, Tony, because it was an incorrect challenge. Multitasking is still with you. 15 seconds starting now.
It was a beautiful summer's evening.
Little challenge.
I thought a slight hesitation.
I think it was a definite hesitation,
Do you?
yeah.
Being dramatic. I was being dramatic.
I know, but you can't do those dramatic pauses, because if you pause, it's against the rules of just a minute.
Also, I was going nowhere again.
Yes. There was a certain amount of human sympathy on my part.
And that's why you paused, because you were going... Well, I won't say you were going nowhere, but only you would know that. 12 seconds, Paul, is available. Multitasking starting now.
I used to work at a multi-storey car park, and every day involved the same task. First of all, clean the surfaces, stick the disinfectant up, make sure that the traffic fumes haven't built up, because...
Alun, yes.
This sounds like an amazing car park. Where is it?
The Isle of Shappi.
I'll make a note.
Lovely car park. It's
What is-
worth going for the car park.
What's your challenge?
I didn't have a real challenge. It's just I'm always on the lookout for a clean car park.
So we give Alun a bonus point because the audience enjoyed his challenge, but Paul was interrupted, so he gets a point for that. And there are half a second to go. Starting now.
The other day, I was walking down the street...
Right, Tony, it's your turn to begin. And the subject now, a nice one. The oxygen of publicity. 60 seconds, starting now.
It would be cheap of me to mention that I have a new book coming out in March. So I will not do that. But I will say that it's cheap opportunity.
Alun, you challenge first.
There was a repetition of cheap, and I thought there was a little deviation as well.
And hesitation as well.
Yeah. Well, I've all of
Ironically,
them.
just before you said, I will say, and then it just came
No,
out.
I know. It was a poor performance, really.
But enjoyable. But that's how we work in this show, isn't it?
Yeah.
All spontaneous, straight off the top of our heads. Right. Audience couldn't care less. Right, Alun, you had a correct challenge. You got a point for that. And you have 50 seconds available. The oxygen of publicity starting now.
This March, I shall be buying Tony Hawk's book on the oxygen of publicity because I'm extremely interested in gases and publicity. I don't really understand why so many people are so keen on the oxygen of publicity. It seems the sort of thing that people from Big Brother...
Tony, challenge.
Repetition of people.
Yes, too many people's there.
Yes.
So, Tony, you've cleverly got back in with 32 seconds to go. You don't think you want the subject, but you've got it. The oxygen of publicity starting now.
We creative types survive on the oxygen of publicity. We slog away at home trying to make something the public will like. And if they don't hear about it, we are gutted. We cannot go on in some cases, although I tend to plough regardlessly.
Josie,
I think there was a hesitation there.
Yeah, I think
sort
it
of
was
clock will stop.
No, yeah. I think we'll interpret that as hesitation, Josie. Give you the benefit of the doubt. And say you have a point, of course, and you have 15 seconds still. The oxygen of publicity starting now.
You find that some people have to breathe this oxygen of publicity, even if it's detrimental to them. Oh, I've put on weight, and now I will lose weight because... Oh, I'm God. WAIT second time.
Even if it was, it doesn't matter because it's what the word sounds like.
Absolutely.
Paul, you challenged first, and what was it?
Repetition.
Absolutely. The oxygen of publicity, and 4 seconds available.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yes, starting now.
The circus is in town, bellowed the man through the loud hailer, and the tigers...
So the situation now is, Josie, you're in the lead, but only a couple of points behind is Tony Hawks and Paul Merton, and then Alun Cochrane in that order. And Alun, we're back with you. The subject is my family motto. Tell us something about that in this game, if you can, starting now.
Cogite verite latine nonne is just one of the many non-Latin mottos that my family have. It was hyphenated, let's move on. Everybody else seems to have a family motto, don't they? I have several mottos in my life, none of which are actually shared by my family. Never accelerate towards brake lights is a good tip for life, but it is not the family motto in the Cochranes.
Tony challenge.
Deviation.
What?
Well, he's telling us what not his family mottos are. And I would say that technically it's within the rules of just a minute that I know that you're very keen on.
I bet when we do hear the family motto, it's going to be a corker. Absolute corker. Think of the ones that rejected.
Yeah, Tony, I think you're right. Benefit of the doubt to you, and you have therefore a point, and you have the subject, and you move forward with 32 seconds to go. My family motto starting now.
My family motto is wise men don't leap unicorns. And we have been using this for many years, although an argument broke out recently over whether it was a very good family motto. So we went for another one, which is handy because I've got quite a few seconds to talk about this. And if we'd only stuck with the one, just think of the situation.
Alun, you challenge first.
I think there was a repetition of one.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
And also deviation, because it's my family motto, not my family mottos.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. I mean, once you've said the motto, you haven't got far to go. No. Which I should be listening out for.
So, Alun, you've got him with 11 seconds to go. My family motto starting now.
My family motto takes exactly 12 seconds to describe and enunciate. It's very long. There are some beautiful vocabulary choices.
Oh, who's challenged? Tony challenged.
I don't think it can be very long if it only takes 12 seconds.
I was comparing it to 1 second.
But we still haven't heard what the motto is. We're in danger of going home pig ignorant.
It's worth me coming tonight just to know roughly what a good length for a motto is.
Anything between 2 words and a dozen words, I'd have thought.
But we don't, normally on other shows, they don't discuss the length in time of a good motto.
Within the rules of just a minute, he can discuss the length, the quality, the interest and so forth before he actually delivers the motto.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Therefore,
I'm fully in agreement. What I'm doing
ready
is
to
just
why the
saying
hell
what a
did you
cracking
challenge?
show this is.
And I'm ready to write down this motto now. I'm ready. And word for word, I'm writing this down.
Well, you've got half a second to go.
Yeah.
But you can give us the motto in that half a second as the whistle goes. Half a second starting now.
My family...
Come on, Alun, have you got a motto?
Yes.
You're going to give it to us?
Never pay full price for anything.
A pound shop man.
Do you know what mine is?
What?
Sit Bodum.
Did you have a dog called Bodum?
No. I'm being serious. It means be good.
Well, Johnny, you're lovely.
Yeah, I'm being a bit crap at the minute, but the motto's be good.
You're doing very well. And it's your turn to begin, Josie.
Oh, is it?
Yes. It's the subject. I don't know if it's up your street or not. Kinky boots. Talk on kinky boots for 60 seconds if you can, starting now.
Everybody's talking about those kinky boots. Kinky boots, one of my favourite songs from the 60s. Kinky boots, sung by Honor Blackman and Patrick McNee. But my first pair of kinky boots I wore when I was 16 years old, going out with David. They were platform boots, 6 inches high, and he had to...
Well, she's put an H on inches.
Yes, what? No.
And dropped the other one.
It's a rogue H.
No, it was just my accent.
Fair enough.
It's very slight, darling, but we're getting it. It's a good excuse anyway. So a point to you, Josie. Incorrect challenge, or the benefit of the doubt as well. Kinky Boots is still with you, starting now.
I also had a pair of red leather kinky boots when I was a punk rocker. They had...
Oh.
Did we have pair before? Pair of boots?
Yes, you did.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so well, listen, Paul.
It's my accent.
So, Paul, you have the subject of kinky boots. 34 seconds available, starting now.
If there's a knock at the door, unplug the telly, it's not ours. That was our family motto. And I remember the kinky boots were just beside the television set, and that's where we would look at these magnificent boots, and my father would come home from the leather works and he would produce from his hand a magnificent dollop of dubbing.
Josie, challenge.
Two magnificents.
Yes.
That's the word of the night for me, isn't it?
Josie, you've got in and having gained another point with 17 seconds to go on kinky boots, starting now.
I actually wore some really kinky boots in a television programme once. The Last Detective. I was playing a dominatrix that Peter Davidson was visiting, and I had to go to an industrial estate to get these kinky boots. It was a little storeroom place, and when you went into it, the smell...
Oh, we're moving into the final round. Oh, you're lovely. So as we go into the final round, let me tell you, very interesting. Josie, you're in the lead, ahead of Paul Merton, and 3 points ahead of Tony Hawks and Alan Cochrane. It's very close. Oh, tension. Paul, we're back with you, and the subject is keeping it real. Another phrase, starting... Nothing funny in that. Or maybe it's just the way I say it. 60 seconds starting now.
Keeping it real, there have been troubles recently in television land. Documentaries and dramas have been held up to the light for not being authentic in some cases or being absolutely too much in others. For example, there was a drama set in Cornwall.
Yes, whose challenge? I can't remember.
Do you know what?
What?
I think it was dramas, then drama.
Was it? Yes.
I've been hoisted on Paul's petard. It doesn't make sense, but...
One way of getting home.
An incorrect challenge, I'm afraid, Alan. Paul's got
Yeah.
another point, keeps the subject, and there are 46 seconds available, starting now.
Mumbling dialogue in the dark in Cornish pubs was something that viewers weren't particularly keen on, because although the lighting was suitably atmospheric and dark, when you can't...
Paul, Alan, you've challenged
it was
again.
a repetition of dark.
Yes, I must listen to what I'm saying.
Well, listen, Alan, he did say dark before.
I did indeed.
So you now have 35 seconds if you want it, keeping it real, starting now.
My book on fishing is titled Keeping It Real. I haven't actually began working on it because...
Paul, you've challenged.
I wouldn't if I were you. Judging by the straw poll reaction to the title, you're going to be hard-pressed selling that. But other than that, I wish you the best of luck.
But still, he wasn't deviating from the
wasn't,
rules
no.
of just a minute, so you get the point for an incorrect challenge, Alan. Keeping it real, and 26 seconds starting now.
Keeping it real is something the Canterbury people are very well known for, isn't it? They like to be earthy, down, let people know exactly where they stand by discussing Christopher Marlowe and Chaucer and cathedrals all the time. It's a beautiful place where you can really learn how to behave in everyday society without...
Tony, you've challenged.
He's talking complete rubbish.
That can't be a challenge,
I don't
otherwise...
think that's against the rules.
But he's not. No, deviation. I don't think he's really talking about on the subject.
But Canterbury folk do keep it real.
I think, you can talk rubbish in this show. It's been done many, many times.
I don't like the way this is going.
There's nothing in the rules which say you can't talk rubbish.
I feel it's slipping away.
I think, Tony, it slipped.
No. At one point, he said that the Canterbury people were down.
No, but that's the modern way of down. Down means up now.
Yeah.
It's like sick means good.
Yeah.
And hinch means inch.
It's only a bonus point for that. It was rather good. So anyway, Alan, you got the extra point. Keeping it real is still with you. Oh, there's only 4 seconds to go.
Yeah. Time for a family motto.
Starting now.
Keeping it real is something we do very much in the north of England also.
Right. That was the last round, as I said, and a very fair result, because it's their contribution that really matters. But in second place, equal, were Paul Merton, Tony Hawks, and Alun Cochrane. And 2 points ahead was Josie Lawrence, so we say, Josie, you are our winner this week. So it only remains me to say thank you to these 4 fine players of the game, Paul Merton, Alun Cochrane, Josie Lawrence and Tony Hawks. I thank Hayley Sterling, who's kept me with the score, blown her whistle with such style when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And we're indebted to the creator of this game, Ian Messiter. We're also indebted to our lovely producer, Toulouse Gilani. And we thank this lovely audience here at the Marlowe Theatre in Canterbury. And we hope you will tune in again at the same time when we play Just a Minute. Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello. My name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world, but also to welcome to the programme 4 exciting, dynamic, intelligent performers who are going to play this game, and they are seated on my right, Marcus Brigstocke and Jenny Eclair, and seated on my left, Shappi Khorsandi and Gyles Brandreth. Please welcome all 4 of them. And as usual, I am going to ask them to speak on a subject that I will give them, and they will try and speak on that subject without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. Seated beside me is Trudy Stevens. She's going to help me keep a score. She will blow a whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And Jenny, let's begin the show with you, and who better? Oh, a lovely one. Elephant and Castle. Will you tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now?
The Elephant and Castle lies no more than 1 mile from outside my front door. These buses will take me the 40, 176, 12. 20 minutes should do it, unless we get snarled up at the Walworth Road. You know what that's like, full of wig shops. Now, the Elephant and Castle is a massive roundabout, very dangerous, in fact. Don't cycle round there. And it's also got the worst shopping centre.
Giles is challenged.
Repetition of round.
Oh, yes.
Roundabout, round.
Round there.
Round.
Round
2
there.
rounds and a roundabout.
On the first round already.
Yes. Are you waiting for 32 seconds, my darling?
No! Giles, you're a cruel man.
I mean, he's just rather good at the game,
Yes.
that's all. Giles, you get a correct challenge, a point for that, of course. You take over the subject. There are 32 seconds available. Elephant and Castle, starting now.
During my late and sadly unlamented career as a vaudevillian, I met many of the great double acts of entertainment, including Abbott and Costello during their prime, and of course Morecambe and Wise, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair. But Elephant and Castle were 2 of the most remarkable. Elephant was a huge man, hence his name. Castle, it turned out, was indeed the grandson of Roy, a very amusing child. They did this quaint little performance, one sitting upon the knee of the other, a ventriloquist's act combined with magic.
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point, and it was, of course, Gyles Brandreth, and he's now in the lead with 2 points. In fact, he's the only one to have scored. Marcus Brigstocke, will you take the next round? Oh, lovely idea. One of my favourites, bananas. Tell us something about bananas in just a minute, starting now.
Bananas come in 3 colours: green, yellow, and the state they're in my fruit bowl most of the time. I like a banana, but that's mostly because I'm addicted to potassium. I always have been. It's a delicious and extraordinary thing to put in your mouth. Bananas aren't in fact a fruit. Many people think that they are, but they're a herb pod belonging to a tree that grows in exotic parts of the world. If you need to work out how many bananas you've got, you're best to ring a tally man. Now, whether or not he will be able to tell you with any balls.
Jenny, you've challenged.
Oh, well, he went into a vast hesitation there.
I did.
And the tallyman thing. Well, that was peculiar.
Yeah,
I think deviation.
I think it was a deviation.
No, if you want your bananas tallied, you ask the tallyman to come and tally them.
Hey, Mr. Tallyman, tally
me
my
banana.
bananas.
Well, that would be
We'll go for
deviation.
hesitation, Nicholas.
All right, we'll go for hesitation and give you a benefit of the doubt and a correct challenge. A point for that, Jenny. Bananas and 26 seconds available starting now.
I love a banana chopped up on my muesli in the morning. Also, very good...
Oh, Shappi, challenge.
I'm sorry, I thought you hesitated, but you might have just breathed.
Shappi, no, we won't charge anything for that because it was just a slip. Jenny continues with 21 seconds on bananas starting now.
Ever so good for comedy. You can slide on the skin. What a hoot! Unless, of course, you break your hip. Suddenly, not so amusing. A few years ago, the company Lakeland bought out the Banana Guard. Now, ladies, if you're thinking about birthday or Christmas gifts, this is a very handy accompaniment to carry one's banana.
So Jenny Eclair was in speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point, and so she's moved up alongside Gyles, Brandreth in the lead. And Shappi, it's your turn to begin. And the subject we have now is animal husbandry. Can you... I can tell by your face. You're saying...
It's my specialist subject.
Oh,
I talk of little else in my real life.
Anyway, animal husbandry, 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
Animal husbandry isn't, unfortunately, what I thought it was, which was a manual stimulation of animals to make them fancy one another. However, what I've learned is that it's a breeding process where if you want to make animals completely a breed that... I just felt I was about to go into blue territory and I panicked.
And Gyles saved you by pressing his button.
There was a hesitation.
There was a hesitation.
In all sorts of ways I hesitated. I hesitated spiritually.
The look on your face all through that, Gyles, was enough to put anybody off. But, anyway, you've got in there with the correct challenge, and you've got 40 seconds to tell us something about animal husbandry, starting now.
Shappi is quite right. It is a very delicate subject, and she impressively approached it with a certain tentative...
Shappi,
it wasn't
challenge.
impressive.
No.
Her delicacy was impressive, so impressive that she actually hesitated. She was embarrassed.
I hate to embarrass you and say I agree with you. But I'm very happy to give you a point, Shappi, and say, take over the subject. 36 seconds on animal husbandry, starting now.
I wish animal husbandry is what I initially thought, which is what you did when you were a child and you make your pets marry each other.
Giles, challenge.
Repetition of initially thought. We had that first time round.
You initially thought the first time, yes.
And you can't initially think twice, can you?
No,
okay.
right. Right, so Giles, correct challenge, 31 seconds are still available. Animal husbandry starting now.
The profoundly unimpressive remarks that we've just heard lead me to actually tackle this subject head on.
Marcus, challenge.
I thought those last ones were quite impressive. Deviation.
So
I mean, to have an initial thought twice, I'm impressed.
I think that's a good challenge.
Thank you.
It's a difficult one for me to make a decision on, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and if I can redress the balance sometime, Giles, to you I will, and say, Marcus, you have a point. You have your first point, actually.
Oh, good.
25 seconds are available. Animal husbandry starting now.
There's nothing delicate about this. The fact is, pigs have a spiral penis shaped like a corkscrew. Now, that represents a problem both for the farmer and for the animal in question. How do they rotate themselves as they try to make small piglets so that we can enjoy sausages and thereabout? And indeed, Mrs. Spiggywig.
Oh, Giles. Yes, Giles.
Hesitation.
Yes, I'm glad you saved us for any more intimate details. It is radio.
That was more science than filth, Nicholas.
Anyway, Gyles, you've got him with 5 seconds to go. But that's the game. You have another point. You have animal husbandry. 5 seconds starting now.
The American writer Ronald Furbank wrote a novel that is very interesting called His Monkey Wife.
Oh, Jenny challenged.
Well, deviation. It wasn't about animal husbandry.
It is. It's his monkey wife. That's what it's called, his monkey wife.
That's
Not
no
monkey
way
husband,
to
though.
talk about your missus.
Jenny, I think he hadn't quite got to the point, and he'd only been going for just 4 3/4 seconds.
That's why I did it.
Given the available time, I feel he should have got there quicker. I'm no pig farmer.
I said... Gyles, you've got the benefit of the doubt. The whistle goes now. Play it right.
Edward Albee.
So Gyles, speaking of the whistle, when got the extra point, right? And you're in a strong lead at the end of the round. And Gyles, it's back with you. It's your turn to begin. The rites of spring. The rites of spring, Gyles. 60 seconds starting now.
You are a wily and clever chairman, Nicholas Parsons, because the rites of spring could be there to lead me up the wrong path. Am I thinking of the Rite of Spring, the wonderful ballet with music by Stravinsky that Diaghilev presented, choreographed by Nijinsky? Yes, I could be, because there was a misprint in the initial program and rites of spring appeared on the program rather than the word in the singular.
Marcus, you challenge.
Yes, repetition of the letter R at the beginning of regular. It's actually only spelt with 1 R, rather than the 3 you gave it. Don't know if repetition on a single letter counts, Nicholas, but I thought it was worth a go.
It was worth a go, Marcus, and it was such a lovely idea. I'm going to give you a bonus point because we enjoyed the interruption. But Gyles was interrupted, so he gets another point, and he has the subject still. The rites of spring, 33 seconds, starting now.
My personal rites of spring involved an extraordinary display of myself at the beginning of April each year. Naked, I dance out onto the village green. It's quite frosty, so there's not a great deal to see, except possibly there is the...
Jenny challenge.
2 possiblies, and I think we had to stop him. We were all getting pictures in our heads.
Well, naturally.
I'd say there's at least 2 possibilities if Gyles is naked in April on the village green.
In your area, where is your green?
There's a pond near me, and there's a little green by it, and also there is Barnes Common.
And you run naked to Barnes Common, do you?
Well, until the arrest took place, yes.
So, Jenny, you have the subject. You have a point, of course. You have 17 seconds if you want it. The rites of spring starting now.
It is, of course, time to prepare for the summer. This is when women start to shed their opaque black tights and take a razor to their hairy shins. What thick black pelt has appeared?
Gyles challenge.
Well, repetition of black, as well as the deviation from nature. I know no woman who has to shave her shins. But anyway, repetition of black.
I'm a fool to myself.
Yes. So, Gyles, you've cleverly got him with 2 seconds to go. And at least it was correct, so you have the challenge, you have a point. 2 seconds, the rites of spring starting now.
Washing my face in the dew is an extraordinary and beautiful experience.
So Gyles was again speaking as a whistle when gained that extra point, has increased his lead at the end of the round, and he's followed by Jenny Eclair, Marcus Brigstocke and Shappi Khorsandi in that order. And Jenny, we're back with you to begin, and the subject now is hipsters. Tell us something about hipsters in this game, starting now.
I love a hipster. You can spot these fellas and their girlfriends in fashionable areas of London, such as Hoxton, Hackney, Dalston, Peckham. What fun they are with their beards.
Shappi Khorsandi.
I'm really sorry, there are no hipsters in Peckham.
No, they've come. They've come to Bellenden Village. I live in Camberwell.
Spread?
I've been spotting them. They've all got those bicycles with no gears.
Are you
That's
sure?
what they like, isn't it, Marcus? Do you know of which I speak?
What, these sort of weird bearded-looking chaps?
Yeah.
I should explain to our listeners, Marcus has a beard.
Have you spoken to them and they talk back to you disdainfully?
The thing about them, you know they're hipsters. Well, shall I put it in a round?
Now, Jenny, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I don't think you were technically deviating from the subject. So, Hipsters is with you still. 50 seconds starting now.
The girls often have tattooed legs and can be spotted in a pop-up cafe drinking a soya chai latte.
Ah, Marcus challenge.
There's a hesitation on soya, and rightly so. It's disgusting.
Well, you only get 1 point for that, Marcus. It's two things. 44 seconds are still available, Marcus. Hipsters starting now.
I'm only part hipster. I do have a beard, and it's very kind of Jenny to volunteer to be that role this evening. Now, I've set up a cafe that serves only cereal to people like me, and they can come in there and they can eat their breakfasty things at any time of day whilst wearing trousers that clearly don't quite fit them. Of course, the other type of hipster is a trouser. It's an uncomfortable thing if, like me, you have a capacious backside. That's something that's been noted, but I don't let that stop me from being a man about town, happy to ride.
Jenny, you've challenged.
Have I done a Gyles? Have I come in with about 3/4 of a second to go?
No, 11 seconds to go.
Oh, I should have waited.
So, Jenny, you have another point. You have 11 seconds. Hipsters starting now.
They often have to work in bars to pay rent in a converted warehouse somewhere in East London. There are no hipsters in west of our city.
So Jenny Eclair with speaking to Little Wen gained that extra point. And she's moving forward, catching up on Gyles, who's still in the lead, and Marcus and Shappi in that order. And Marcus, we're back with you to begin. And the subject now is Earth-like planets. 60 seconds starting now.
The idea of Earth-like planets is one that has always pleased me. I enjoy the notion that somewhere out in space there's another game of Just a Minute taking place where Nicholas Parsons is allowing me to win instead of Gyles blimmin' Brandreth, who always takes the lead so early because he's so good at the game and rolls his arse. But somewhere out in space at this very moment...
Gyles challenge.
Well, deviation in all sorts of areas.
Give me one within the rules of Just a Minute.
There's no possibility of you being in another planet, Nicholas. You are unique. And I think deviation, therefore deviation. You are a unique human being. There's never been anything like you. The first and last of the great immortals, not replicated on any planet, in any hemisphere known to humanity. When God created you, he broke the mold.
Do I give you a bonus point for flattery or what?
Of course our Nicholas is unique. I wasn't suggesting for a moment that there's another Nicholas Parsons the same as this magnificent chairman.
Too late!
No, look,
too late!
No, what I'm suggesting is that somewhere in a slightly altered version, perhaps an incredibly elderly gentleman in 2, 3, 4,000 millennia.
Stop digging, Brigstocke.
All right. So, Jenny, you actually challenged then. Why?
Well, because Marcus was digging his own grave because he called you very, very old.
I didn't. It was the other Nicholas Parsons.
Oh, that ancient
the one
one.
in space who looks at this one and goes, oh, he's doing well, isn't he?
I think I must give this occasion the benefit of the doubt to Marcus.
Oh, good.
And say you can continue with Earth-like planets, and 36 seconds starting now.
On an Earth-like planet somewhere in a faraway galaxy, Woking is the most fascinating city on the entire globe. The people who live there are celebrated by every...
Gyles challenge.
Sorry to be pernickety, but it can't be a globe. In the entire globe, you mean the entire universe?
No, Woking's
Deviation.
only celebrated on that planet.
No.
This time I get the benefit of the doubt to Gyles. Benefit of the what, did I say?
Benefit of the bout. For listeners at home, we weren't actually fighting physically, although I'm not ruling it out.
So, Gyles, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on this occasion and say there are 24 seconds still available. Earth-like planets starting now.
I believe Kepler 186f is the name of the most recently discovered Earth-like planet, and Richard Branson is planning to send me there on tour. He has got a beautiful vehicle ready for me. I'm climbing aboard, and I am going to Woking on the other side of the universe. But a few hundred light years away, where I shall be with a cabaret troupe called Los Bananas. My backing team are the Hipsters.
Well, Gyles is speaking as a whistle when gained that extra point has increased his lead over Jenny, Eclair, Marcus, Brigstocke and Shappi, Khorsandi in that order. And Shappi, we're back with you.
Do you remember when I first started doing this programme when I was very, very new? You used to help me out sometimes. That's what I'm saying. You used to, every now and then you just go, oh, we'll just do something to give Shappi some points because she's at the end and she's new. You're like one of those banks that are only nice to new customers.
Shappi, you're so engaging. I'm going to give you a bonus point.
Nicholas,
Yes?
Nicholas, do you know how I've been playing this game for many, many years? And I've given such long and loyal service. I thought maybe after all these decades, I might just get one tiny point.
Give her a bonus point, then.
For people listening at home, what's just taken place is an excellent description of quantitative easing.
Is it, right?
Yeah, you've devalued the entire point system by introducing new points that didn't previously exist.
I'm just doing what Just a Minute's all about. It's having fun.
Yes.
Well, so's quantitative easing.
Shappi, it's your turn to begin. Right.
Fabulous.
The subject is taking stock. 60 seconds starting now.
I once met a quantity surveyor in a nightclub, and I said, what do you do for a living? And he explained, and to me it was just counting stuff, taking stock. I'll never know what a quantity surveyor... Actually, I've just done that twice. Why? Because my subject wasn't quantity surveyor.
Jenny, you've challenged.
Surveyor.
Surveyor, that's right. A point to you, Jenny.
Come on. What was the topic?
Quantity surveying.
Darling, I'm about to tell you. You get so carried away with your success. You know, you play to the audience and guffaw. 49 seconds, Jenny, you have for taking stock, starting now.
I used to take stock every Saturday morning when I worked in Boots the Chemist in St Anne's. There I'd be on my hands and knees counting the stock. Now, I worked in beauty and feminine hygiene, so occasionally supplies would run low on the Dr. Whites, and I'd have to take the lift up to the stockroom and get a load more on a trolley.
Marcus challenge.
Well, it's possibly deviation, but what are Boots doing stocking lemonade?
Marcus went to an all-boys boarding school.
Only until I was 20, Jenny. I'm a man of the world now.
I think you may find that some of the bigger Boots do have things. I mean, they have lemon barley water and things like that.
Perhaps I misunderstood.
So I think I give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, I think you should.
23 seconds, taking stock, starting now.
What I used to love about taking stock was repricing everything. I had a gun, and you'd press it, and a sticky tape thing came out. Sometimes, just for a laugh, I'd change the numbers on it, so stuff would cost 17 quid, even though it was actually only 70p. What larks we had. And then I'd go out for a fag.
Gyles challenge.
Repetition of larks.
Yes, you talked about the larks bit right at the beginning.
I tried to have fun.
I know. I think what you were doing was very suspect as well.
Yes.
When were you discovered and dismissed?
I was actually promoted to till girl. Until I got my hand trapped in it.
Right, back to the show. 4 seconds are still available. It's you, Gyles, taking stock, starting now.
Hosting the British Funeral Directors Awards, I was lying in the display coffin, taking stock of my entire life.
So Gyles, because the whistle gained another point, and he's moved forward. He's still in the lead, ahead of Jenny, Eclair, Marcus, Brigstocke, and Shappi, Khorsandi in that order. And I've just heard that we're into the final round.
Damn it, I want to win this.
And Gyles, a lovely subject. Something I so love, the Goons. Radio 4 fans will never forget them. Tell us something about them in the show, starting now.
Oh, Goons! Now, you, Nicholas Parsons, are a commander of the Order of the British Empire. Well...
Yes. Oh, Shappi, you've challenged.
You made a really strange sound at the beginning.
Yes, it was an impression of Peter Sellers goosing Spike Milligan.
I know.
Regular listeners recognised it at once.
Yes, but
It was
Nicholas
a
knows.
repetition of ooh.
No, it wasn't. It was... I'm sorry. Ooh is one word.
No, that's two words.
No. Ooh is a repetition. Ooh is one word. You could argue possibly that rollicking has got several R's at the beginning of it. But you cannot say that ooh is more than one word. Ooh. 3 words.
Gyles, we love having you on the show because you're so entertaining. But Shappi has a subject. And there are 54 seconds. The Goons, Shappi, starting now.
We used to play five-a-side football at school. One of the teams was called the Goons. My team was called Napa United. Were you all horrified that I'm not talking about the comedy programme? Giles Brandreth hates my very bone marrow at the moment. But I'm going to talk about this sports game that we did at school.
Marcus challenge.
Yeah, repetition of talk.
Yes, you were talking too much about this.
Well, I enjoyed it while it lasted. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, darling, I'd give you the opportunity anytime. Marcus.
You were sent the BBC guidelines, Nicholas. I honestly.
Only if you've got that sort of mind. There are 39 seconds, Marcus, still available. The Goons, starting now.
I absolutely love The Goons Show because it's enabled me to work in radio comedy and always be compared to something that I'll never be as funny as. And that is an absolute delight. Yee! I've fallen in the water. It's a thing that I have always wanted to say on radio, and now I have.
Jenny challenge.
Radio.
Radio, yes. So, Jenny, you've got in on the subject, which is lovely. 21 seconds still available. The Goons, starting now.
Do you know what? At the risk of being very unpopular and getting letters, I'm going to say I can't stand the Goons. Never could.
Marcus challenge.
Yes, I'm saving Jenny from herself. This is neither the time nor the place to say you don't like the Goons.
So what's your challenge with the rules of just a minute?
Deviation from her own safety. The ferocity of letters that will arrive could take an eye out.
I agree with him, actually. I think there's a little bit of me that thinks I should be made to shut up.
Well, Prince Charles likes the Goons, and if anyone knows what's funny, Actually, hang on. Yeah.
On second thoughts, I'll take it back.
Right. Yeah. No, that last remark deserves that you should get the subject. And 14 seconds, Marcus. The Goons, starting now.
The Goons, of course, had Peter Sellers in it, who I admire enormously. It also had Harry Seacombe and was written predominantly by Spike Milligan, who had to pen many of the episodes while he was in a mental institution, which, of course, is where I write most of the Now show. That's why they...
So, it only remains for me to give you the final score. As I said, Shappi Khorsandi was trailing a little, finished up in 4th place, but in this game, that was a magnificent 4th place. Her contributions were lovely. Just and only just ahead of her was Marcus Brigstocke, and only just ahead of him was Jenny Eclair, but quite a few points ahead of her was Gyles Brandreth. So, Gyles, we say, you are our winner this week. So it only remains to say thank you to these 4 intrepid, delightful players of this game. Marcus Brigstocke, Jenny Eclair, Shappi Khorsandi and Gyles Brandreth. I thank Trudy Stevens, who sat beside me and blown her whistle with such aplomb. And we thank our producer, Talusha Galani. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're grateful to this lovely audience here in the Radio Theatre, who've cheered us on our way with enthusiasm. So from the audience, from me, Nicholas Parsons, and the team, and everyone else, thank you very much. Tune in at the same time next week when we get together and we play Just a Minute. Welcome to Just a Minute. Hello, thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but throughout the world, but also to welcome to the programme 4 dynamic and incredible personalities from the great world of show business. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Sheila Hancock, and seated on my left, Graham Norton and Robin Ince. Please welcome all 4 of them. And as usual, I'm going to ask them to speak on a subject that I will give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And seated beside me is Trudy Stevens. She will help me keep the score. She will blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And we're going to begin the show this week with Paul Merton. Paul, the subject here, paranormal activity. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
I went into a news agency the other day and I said to him, "Are you interested in paranormal activity?" And he said, "I am indeed. I once had an aunt of an Australian girlfriend who reported all these things ringing around the room, and she said to herself, it has to be a poltergeist. It's the only logical explanation." Which I thought was a very funny line at the time, but nobody has done since. And the other day, I was walking towards Madame Marcati's booth at the end of Brighton Pier. The woman sees all. The stars and the moon hold no mysteries for her. She has the intimate knowledge of your soul, and all for 7 and 6. It was a long time ago when I went.
Sheila Hancock down.
Hasn't Brighton Pier burnt down?
Yeah, but not when I paid 7 and 6. A long time ago, you see. Back in the 1960s.
So a point to Paul, because it was the incorrect challenge, and he keeps the subject, and there are 24 seconds still available, starting now.
Harry Houdini, the world-known escapologist, was a great devotee of spiritual matters in the sense that he liked to uncover the way that the practitioners were going about their business. 2 sisters in America in the 1870s invented what people now see as the movement that belongs to talking to people who are dead. And they were able to crack their bones in their fingers and their toes to make noises to convince their parents that there was somebody knocking at a table.
So, in this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point. On this occasion, it was Paul Merton, so he's got 2 points at the end of that round. In fact, Sheila's spoken, but the others haven't. But, Robin, would you like to begin the next round? And the subject, a lovely one, St. Valentine. Tell us something about that particular saint in this game, starting now.
St. Valentine is the patron saint of Chris de Burgh records. Every time that occurs, men will think, even though I've had a ghastly year and truly we don't really love each other, perhaps Lady in Red will say something to my darling wife, who is only my darling wife on the 14th.
Bigamy!
I know, it's difficult, Robin. You haven't played the game quite as often as the others, so it's so easy. And Graham, you challenge first.
I sensed some repetition. I was listening very, very carefully, and I think I got some repetition.
Right, so Graham, you have St. Valentine. You don't have it, but you have the subject, and there are 44 seconds available, starting now.
Being a saint nowadays is easy. Release a charity single, just be nice to somebody other than yourself, and you will be heralded as a saint. But in the olden...
Oh no, Robert. Sorry, that was Saint, and Saint is technically in it, yeah. I haven't done this game before, it's very tricky.
I thought you had played it before.
Well, a long time ago, they didn't let me back, and now they've remembered why.
Yes, it was a long time ago, but yes, Robin, you can repeat the subject on the card. Graham, an incorrect challenge, a point to you. 33 seconds available. St. Valentine, starting now.
Saint Valentine, or in the French, Saint Valentine, is the patron saint, if that's a thing, I'm pretty sure it is, of lovers and romance the world over. But what an awful end, Saint Valentine, or sometimes in other languages it could be Saint Valentine, is reached.
Poor challenge.
There was an elongation of vowels.
Yes, well, that's not in the rules.
No, but you should watch that because it could turn into a bad medical practice. It's a sort of condition, I should say.
There certainly was elongation of vowels. I have to decide when he gets so elongated that it's hesitation. I think on this time you were teaching on the point of hesitation, but didn't quite achieve it. It's all right. So you have an incorrect challenge, Graham, and you have 10 seconds still. St. Valentine's starting now.
The other day, I was in my local supermarket and I was buying dog food. And in that aisle, I discovered a girl being dumped by her boyfriend. Does it...
Paul challenged.
We haven't quite got to St. Valentine yet.
Romance.
Oh, supermarket dog food.
A girl was being dumped by her boyfriend. I was going to go on to say that was the least romantic thing I'd ever encountered.
Oh.
Well, you took a long time to get there.
10 seconds!
1/6 of a minute.
Seconds. Listen, I gave you the benefit of the doubt on the other one, so I think Paul has it this time. You hadn't got there quick enough.
No, all right.
All right.
So,
Paul, you've got him with 2 seconds to go. Don't... Oh, you're upset.
That's how time works, I'm afraid.
You know how to work an audience, Graham. Right. There are 2 seconds still available for you, Paul, on St. Valentine's, starting now.
So I dumped this woman. She ended up crying in the supermarket next to the dog food.
So once again, Paul was speaking to Whistle Wen, gained that extra point. He's one ahead of Graham Norton in that order. Robin and Sheila have yet to establish the points. And Sheila, we'd like to hear from you now. And the subject is stationery. So, an interesting subject, many ways you can take it. But speak on the subject now. 60 seconds, starting now.
Well, I'm not sure which stationery we are talking about, because there is the lack of movement, or is notepaper, pens and things that you use for writing. In fact, they are linked. Strangely enough, I'm doing a carol service at St. John's, and the dean, or whatever he calls himself there, told me that the word for the paper version comes from the fact that there used to be peddlers selling things, but next to St. Paul's, they stood and started a shop and were stationary. So that's how it got its name. I love beautiful notepaper. I wish people still wrote instead of sending...
Graham?
Notepaper came up twice.
Yes, notepaper came up there.
Okay,
yes. And
I feel awful in myself.
That's the game. Yeah. I don't mind, Graham.
Okay. Yeah. Wait.
I'll get you.
Correct challenge, Graham, so you have a point. 17 seconds.
17 seconds?
17.
On stationery?
Yeah. On stationery. It's a broad subject.
It's very broad.
As Sheila said, you can take it in so many different ways. Yeah. And you drive, so
Don't help him, Nick. Go on, get on with it.
No, he doesn't need help. Does he? 17 seconds, starting now.
Your stationery tells people so much about you. Flowers are a no-no, I would say.
Sheila challenge.
A no-no. You tried to pretend it was only one, but it was no-no.
Right, well, listen, Sheila. You've got your subject back. You've got 10 seconds. Stationery starting now.
There is a beautiful shop in Bond Street. Where from...
Paul challenge.
Did we have shop before? Setting up a shop at St. Paul's Cathedral?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
We're not sure. We're doing an impression of an underground train at the moment. We're not sure.
He sold things.
You might have said stall, actually, before. Did you say stall?
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't
know. I've given the benefit of the doubt to Graham and to you, so I give it now to Sheila and say you have 7 seconds on stationery starting now.
In this particular establishment works the wife of the Prime Minister, and she sold me some...
So Sheila Hancock was in Speaker of the Whistle Wen, gained that extra point, and she's creeping up on our 2 leaders, Paul Merton and Graham Norton.
I really want to hear the end of that sentence. What did she sell you? A nuclear bomb? What?
No, embossed postcards for my son-in-law.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Was she
actually
there?
Was she behind the till?
She was. It was before he became Prime Minister, but she was there, and she was lovely. I thought, what a lovely lady, I thought. And then I saw her photo, and she was Mrs. Prime Minister.
All right.
In her own right.
Right.
Very feminist thing to say, isn't it? For a working
do you two
gal.
want to carry on with your conversation?
Sorry. It was interesting.
Right. Graham, we're actually with you to begin now.
Okay.
And the subject is 1984. You know a lot about that, I'm sure, but speak on it. 60 seconds starting now.
In 1984, the local economy of San Francisco suddenly started to boom because it was in that year that I turned 21, which is coincidentally the age you can buy drink. Now, In 1985, the same... Oh, no, I nearly said a word that I've already uttered, but I mustn't do that because of the rules of the game. 1984 is also a novel. Very good.
Sheila challenge.
Oh, yes.
a novel.
So, Sheila, correct challenge, 34 seconds. Tell us something about 1984, starting now.
George Orwell wrote this magnificent book about Big Brother and Winston, and it became a television programme which terrified the living daylights out of me. It's about... Oh, I know.
Robin
twice.
challenged.
Well done.
Hesitation.
That was a hesitation, Robin, yes?
Was it hesitation?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I don't... I'm really sorry. I couldn't... Oh, this is terrible. There's something about buzzing in with someone who's been in a Stephen Sondheim musical which just makes me feel really bad.
21 seconds you've got.
You'll be right.
Robin, tell us something about 1984, starting now.
I'm not sure which my favourite Winston Smith is. Peter Cushing is, of course, very good, and I once wanted to bid on his driving gloves, which were in an auction in Whitstable, but I was too late, and Mark Gatiss got them instead. Then there's Edmund O'Brien, who starred in DNA. DNA... You're quite right, And do you know what? Another panel I'd have got away with that, but...
But you've got three of the seasoned regulars against you, Robin, I'm afraid.
It's a rotten
so,
game,
Paul,
isn't
you challenge first.
A repetition of DNA, surprisingly.
Yes. 4 seconds are still available, Paul. 1984, starting now.
Do you keep stationary? You know I have to wiggle my arms every so often. I said that to a woman in 1984, and what a great laugh we had.
So, Paul Merton, speaking as a whistle-wind, gained an extra point. He's now taken the lead just marginally ahead of Sheila Hancock and Graham Norton, and then Robin brings up the rear. And, Paul, we're back with you to begin, and the subject is a little bizarre, but it is what's fun. Anything you like. That's the subject. Talk on that, starting now.
Antihistamine tablets, smoked salmon, the Duke of Marlborough. These are three things I absolutely love and adore. I will travel endless miles to find any one of them. Other things I like, The Sound of Music, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, cartoons from the 1940s, Woody Allen films from an earlier period than the ones he's making now, and I suppose radio shows such as Just a Minute. There is no other programme like this. It's marvellous to see so many people come here and sit for free on a cold winter's night in the middle of London with no other reason than other to listen to this delightful concoction. Devised by the wonderful Ian Messiter, over the years, I suppose it's become one of my favourite things.
Graham challenged.
No, that repetition of suppose.
Could be.
Yes.
Oh, I like that. Someone in the audience going, yes.
Graham, correct challenge. 20 seconds. Anything you like, starting now.
I'm slightly confused because this game is difficult enough without being given the subject anything you like. Because, of course, the things that we're given to discuss for a minute are so niche and specific and therefore difficult that we often complain about that. But in this...
Oh, Robin, you
I
challenged.
may well be wrong there, but I think they were too difficult.
Yeah.
I think you double difficult.
I could have. I wasn't listening.
Robin was listening well. He was right beside you. And you did repeat the words. So, Robin, a correct challenge, and you have 3 seconds on anything you like, starting now.
Being a vegetarian, one of the things most often said when looking at a menu is there anything you like?
So, Robin... Oh, sorry. One of the crisps I had before I came up.
Crisps is a showbiz euphemism.
Peruvian-flavoured crisps.
So, Robin, you've now got, moving forward, you're equal with Sheila in third place, then Graham, and then Paul in that order, moving upwards. And, Robin, we're back with you to begin. And the subject is Marco Polo. Marco Polo, good subject. Talk on it, 60 seconds, starting now.
Many people consider that Marco Polo was the first European to arrive at China. It was such a shock for the people of that country that when they saw him, they all jumped in the air, which created an earthquake in San Francisco, which was fine because no one lived there at that point in the 14th century. Marco Polo was known really as a travelling salesman, so he would go from country to country saying, "Do you want any nylons?" Country to country! Not again!
They almost let you get away with it, Robin, out of generosity, but Sheila couldn't. Sheila.
Sorry. And
Country to
also
country.
nylons. There weren't nylons in Marco Polo's time.
No.
Deviation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ring Simon Sharma and check.
And also, to stop any letters coming in, it was actually the 13th century, not the 14th.
Oh, I thought he was... Oh,
Nicholas was there. He actually Essentially, he was Marco Polo's travel agent. China's very nice this time of year.
35 seconds are available still, Sheila, on Marco Polo starting now.
Oh, Marco Polo, I think, met Genghis Khan somewhere along his route. There was a boy at my school who was always eating polos, and his name was Mark, so we called him Marco Polo. I am desperately trying to think of something else to say about...
Paul challenge.
Well, it was a humanitarian gesture on my part.
But have you got a challenge within the rules
she
of
quite
justice?
hesitates, so no, I don't think I have really.
No? So Sheila gets a point.
Yeah.
For an incorrect challenge. 18 seconds with you, Sheila. Marco Polo starting now.
I do happen to know that he was born in Venice, or is that somebody else? He wasn't born in Venice. I'm talking rubbish. Who buzzed?
I don't know.
Yeah, you might, yeah.
I did.
Yeah. And what's your challenge?
He wasn't born in Venice.
Oh, God, have I still got the same?
Yes, Sheila, you fool.
Yeah, he was, and you've still got 13 seconds if you want them on Marco Polo starting now.
He travelled across Asia and was incredibly brave. I think he went on a camel. Then he...
Robin, challenge.
I have no idea whether he went on a camel or not, but it's just really nice to drag this out, isn't it? To every now and then throw what looks like a life belt and then pull it back away again.
Have you got a challenge within the rules of just a minute?
Well, I felt that the camel was frankly conjecture on your part.
Well, you can't prove that he didn't go on a camel. It's more than likely he went on a camel.
According to the records, he didn't go on a camel.
No.
What?
Nicholas distinctly remembers booking a sedan chair. When you get to China, ask for the sedan chair. It'll be there outside China Station.
Well, Sheila, you don't want the subject. I think I'm going to give it to Robin, and tell him he got 7 seconds on Marco Polo starting now.
Marco Polo is best remembered for his wonderful hat, which was yellow and purple and brown in some...
Graham's challenge.
Well, he's not best remembered as anything, apparently. We know nothing about him. We certainly don't know... We certainly don't know that he had a colourful hat.
No.
I mean, we sort of know he went to China. That's about it.
A polo hat.
What's a polo
It
hat?
was huge in the early 80s on the club scene. Everyone had a Marco Polo hat.
I think you're
No, he's not right. He's bluffing. Come on. He was known for his travels and so forth and going over to China and coming back again, so he wasn't best known
God,
for his
we
hat.
are in...
Oh, we are
It's not
getting...
like IQ or QI or whatever it is it? If we are fools.
What's the opposite of the brain of Britain?
It's shaming. I hope my grandchildren don't listen.
Idiots of the Isles.
And I'm not Stephen Fry either. The,
Are you not?
No.
Despite his love of crisps.
That's a little in-joke. I do enjoy crisps.
How many seconds? Just tell me, how many seconds?
1 second.
Oh, it's a shameful disgrace.
So, Graham, 1 second on Marco Polo starting now.
Italy's an absolutely gorgeous country. Why would you leave?
Well, what an interesting situation. Graham was speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. He's equal now with Sheila Hancock in the lead. She got so many points on the subject she didn't want. And then comes 1 point behind Paul Merton, and then 1 point behind Robin Ince. Anybody want to talk about Marco Polo?
That was shocking, because you've got to think what that man did was so amazing, and how terrible that none of us know anything about him.
He probably did go on a camel.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah.
He probably was a camel, you're right.
No, you didn't
Born
lose
in
it.
Croatia.
Now you say it!
But nobody said he was born in Venice, did they?
Yes.
Yes, Nicholas, you did.
I think he was
Venetian
he was born in Croatia, but he was living in Venice when he left.
I've got the feeling we've given the subject to the wrong people. It should have been given to you. Very knowledgeable.
And Sheila, we're back with you to begin. Commemorative bust.
Oh, Lord.
Can you talk...
Thank God it's not Marco Polo.
Can you talk about commemorative bust starting now?
I've never understood the point of a commemorative bust. Why don't they do the whole figure? It's extraordinary that they choose to show the chest down to the waist. Maybe it's to show the status of the character. For instance, if it's got a bit of a toga on, then you know it's Roman. If a tie, then possibly a businessman or tits. I was going to say bosoms, and it came out. I'm sorry. Anyway, he buzzed. What do you buzz?
I thought it was hesitation, but I was also trying to maintain the reputation of this show.
And the BBC in general, I believe.
But you did have a correct challenge, Robin, and you have 38 seconds on commemorative bust starting now.
One of my favourite moments involving a commemorative bust is with David Icke. I was watching a show in which he was about to debate in the Oxford Union, and he looked at a bust of Ted Heath and said, "I once interviewed Ted Heath, and halfway Yeah. And do you know what? It was David Icke what made me do that. It was all them lizards in my brain suddenly became active.
Robin.
Sorry.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Graham, you had a correct challenge for repetition. 24 seconds available. Commemorative bust starting now.
One of my favourite stories involving a commemorative bust is a phrase I've never heard uttered aloud before, but now it's been said twice. But not by me, so it's not repetition thus far. I'm sort of with Sheila on this idea of commemorative bust, except it is handy for displaying on a table, whereas if it had feet, it would take up more room. Unless
So, a commemorative bust with just feet would be very odd.
Well, that would be a statue. It'd be a statue.
A statue, oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
So, oh yes, Graham, now you've taken a very strong lead at the end of that round. Right. We're moving into the last round. And in ascending order, Robin is just in fourth place. And then 1 point ahead is Sheila Hancock. And then 1 point ahead is Paul Merton. And just 2 points ahead is Graham Norton. And Paul, we're back with you to begin. And the subject is my best ideas. 60 seconds starting now.
One of my best ideas is an invention called Shock-a-Bloke, where women are allowed to pass small electrical shocks to the men in their life to make them do what they want to.
Robin challenge.
So I don't know, is Shock-a-Bloke separate as in shock dash bloke,
Yes.
or is it a full
It's like
shock?
Shock-a-Bloke, one word.
Right, OK, so it's double shock?
Well, I don't know, because we've never heard of the word before, have we?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that if it's not shock-a-bloke, which would be one word, the shock-a-bloke system, then it wasn't repetition because one was shock and one was shock-a-bloke. But if it's shock-bloke, then I'm not entirely certain. So to be fair, I'm very unsure on this.
Can I say, a lot of pressure on Nicholas right now.
I know there is a lot of pressure on me.
Can we change the subject to Marco Polo?
I feel like we didn't cover that subject
No,
properly.
not enough.
The intellect in this show is unbelievable.
I mean,
the word's invisible.
As Robin
my mistake, yeah.
As Robin hasn't played the game as often as the others,
Yeah.
I will give you the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah, absolutely.
Robin, and say that you have 52 seconds on my best ideas starting now.
One of my best ideas was doing a rock opera at 2 o'clock in the morning in a field in Suffolk based on Guy N. Smith's Crabs on the Rampage.
Graham challenge.
That's no one's best idea.
No, honestly, if I show you all my other ideas...
No, not doing it would have been a better idea than that.
But listen, I've heard you on the television and the radio, so I know you've probably had much better ideas than that. So I've given you the benefit of the doubt just before. I'm going to give it to Graham. Graham, 41 seconds on my best ideas starting now.
41 seconds seems a long time to discuss my best idea, which I...
Paul challenge.
It's shorter now.
Paul, it was such a lovely interruption and was so amusing. We're going to give you a bonus point for that.
Thank you very much.
And, Graham, you were interrupted, so you still have my best ideas, and 36 seconds starting now.
You know, I like to think that somewhere in time I will have my best idea. I just haven't discovered it yet. I see it in my future at some point. Who knows? Perhaps in the next intervening seconds, I can hardly hazard how many are left.
Robin, challenge.
Well, it was kind of all over the shop, and it also involved... I felt it was natural. Of course, you've had some ideas already, and they merely mean you might have a better one, but you've already had one of your best ideas. It might just turn out to be shoddy later.
Robin, in other words, it was hesitation.
Oh, yeah, hesitation would do, yeah.
Now, you see, you lose it, but you get it back again, so you get the point. And you've got 15 seconds. My best idea starting now.
How big...
Oh, challenge.
I was going to say crepuscular.
Why?
Well, you should have done.
Alexia, well, you should have done.
It's these moments of doubt that drive us on. Hesitation.
Yes, well done, Paul.
Yes.
You have 13 seconds on my best ideas starting now.
As I walked into the Institute, I could see all the scientists looking up at me. They realised that my idea would revolutionise the art of history and science combined. They said, what you have managed to do with this milk bottle and that half a pound of raspberry jam is...
Well, there couldn't be a fairer result. Almost equal all along the line. Only 1 point separated all four of them. Sheila was just in fourth place. One ahead was Robin, one ahead of him was Paul, and one ahead of him was Graham Norton. So we have to say, Graham, you are the winner this week. It only remains for me to say thank you to these 4 fine players of the game, Paul, Merton, Sheila Hancock, Robin Ince and Graham Norton. I thank Trudy Stevens, who's helped me with the score, blown her whistle so elegantly when the 60 seconds have elapsed. We thank our producer, Talusha Gilani. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're deeply indebted to this lovely audience here in the Radio Theatre who cheered us on our way magnificently. So from the audience, from the panel, and from me, Nicholas Parsons, thank you, and tune in again the next time we play Just a Minute.